The Golden Bull, Chapter 26. Sita and Nari were asleep when he returned. Jomar's supper was waiting for him, but he was too miserable to do anything but pick at his food. He lay down on his cot, yearning for sleep free of nightmares. He woke just before dawn with his mind filled with a pattern of recurring notes. 2 beats, then a pause. 2 beats, a pause. Why was this familiar to him? Was it the cadence of Sita's steady hammering? Jomar sat bolt upright. No, it was the rhythm of the song that the little band of street children had played for Zephyr when they first entered the city. He would go back to the bazaar when crowds of people roaming through the area would provide an audience for the band. If his hunch was correct, he would find Zephyr. The band was without a lyre player. Too excited to sleep, Jomar got up and tiptoed to the workshop. He wandered about the room, peering closely at everything in the murky light. He touched all of the tools and named them under his breath. Clinging to the side of the flat stone was a bit of gold he hadn't noticed before. The gilded bull's head lay on the work table, waiting to be brought to life by Sita, whose penetrating gaze could go beneath the gold, the tar, the wood, to the spirit of the bull itself. The sun was slanting into the room from the high windows when Sita joined him. You and the sun god were up before me, he said, sliding the lyre's shroud to the floor. Why aren't you out looking for Zephyr? She might have returned to the bazaar near the entrance to the city, Jomar said. May I have your permission to search for her while you're having your midday meal? Sita hesitated before answering. You seem confident of finding her. Yes, go out at noon, but we must work hard this morning. No distractions. No distractions, Jomar repeated. The tar must be hot to attach the ears and horns, Sita said. The golden head must be polished, a slow, tedious process. From a shelf he got down a pot of fine powdered limestone and a smooth stone the size of a small egg. Sita demonstrated what Jomar was to do by sprinkling the abrasive powder over one of the ears, then rubbing it for a moment with the little stone. Polish the ears and horn while I finish securing the gold to the head. The sharp smell of heating tar pervaded the workshop, but Jomar was no longer bothered by the odor. He worked steadily on the ears and horns, with the burnishing stone all through the morning. Because the pieces became smoother and more lustrous with every stroke, Jomar worked without feeling the tedium that Sita had predicted. Nari came in and stood looking at the bull's head. Soon your work on the lyre will be finished, she murmured before returning to the kitchen. Jomar knew she was thinking of the ceremony for her son, which made him think of Zephyr, the missing bead, Moloch, and the river test. He shook himself. He could not let these troubles interfere with his work. Get down and all and watch how I attach the ear, Sita said. Without having to think, Jomar handed him the sharp-pointed tool. With it, Sita made 2 holes on each side of the head. Removing the pot of tar from the furnace, he dipped the wooden peg attached to the ear into the tar. After carefully pushing the peg through one of the holes, he adjusted the position of the ear so that it stood out sharply from the side of the head. That's exactly the right angle for an alert bull ready for anything, Jomar said. Sita suppressed a small smile. Attach the second ear. Following Sita's example, Jomar tarred the peg and pushed it through the hole, then tried to position the ear so that it mirrored Sita's ear perfectly. He looked up questioningly when he thought he had succeeded. Sita made a grunting noise deep in his throat. And now the horns, Jomar asked. And now the horns, Sita said. I'll do the first one, you will do the second. Jomar watched closely as Sita went through the slow process of gluing one of the horns to the head with tar. When it was his turn, Jomar repeated what Sita had done. After countless small adjustments, he stood back from the table and saw that both horns rose from the head with the same graceful thrusting angle. Again, he nervously waited for Sita's response to his work. Sita nodded, but his mind seemed elsewhere. The bull is stately, but it's not finished. Something more is needed. Do you know what that might be? Jomar wondered what could possibly be added to the bull's head. Then he knew what was missing. The head should be more than a faithful likeness of the animal, more than a splendid decoration for the lyre. The bull should look like a god. A beard, Jomar said. The statue of the moon god in the temple has a beard, and it makes Nana look grand and powerful. Sita looked startled, then was quiet for a moment. We've come to a good stopping place. Go and search for Zephyr. I'll go to the temple to give Patati her necklace and thank her for listening to your story. When I come home, I'll have something wonderful to show you, something that's been waiting for me at the treasury for a long time.